Thank you, Aditi. It was like standing in front of the mirror. I think you've very wonderfully added suggestions and guided me into things which may be a blind spot and how I can work on them.
Hi there, welcome to Absolutely Right, the very first graphology or handwriting analysis based podcast show in India. My name is Aditi Surana. I am a graphologist, a high performance coach, and an anti anxiety expert. Every Wednesday, we invite a phenomenal guest who has done something really interesting in their life and try to decode their personalities, their success hacks with the help of their handwriting. Being a graphologist, I have this extra edge to know people at a deeper level with the help of their handwriting strokes. So, what all you got to do? Get your handwriting sample next to you because as I will be analyzing our guest today, I will throw some truth bombs for you to check out your own handwriting sample and learn some interesting things about your own personality. Have you ever wondered what goes inside the mind of an advertiser to come up with that one line or a few words at times that just simply connect us to the brand? It takes so much to make that simple messaging effective. Our guest on the show, Neha Gupta Day, is a Harvard certified award winning marketing director at Global University Systems. Prior to this, she worked with some amazing brands like HI Limited, CK Birla, Geo, LinkedIn, and Idea Network. Neha is a curious person who's always eager to learn, go to the next level, figure out things for herself, and constantly be on the edge of creating something really, really phenomenal. In today's conversation, we speak about some amazing ad campaigns that she has created, what goes under her creative process, and so much more. Keep your handwriting ready and let's get Neha on the show. Hi, Neha. Welcome to Absolutely Right. It is so interesting to have a guest from the industry like yours, where you have experiences from different walks of life and different companies where you have implemented your talent.
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me here. I would like to compliment both the way you speak. First of all, I think it's mesmerizing,
Thank you.
and definitely it makes complete sense for you to be a speaker who takes various ideas and learnings from different places. And I think secondly, I really want to compliment about your thinking on having an art and how do you relate that art to different aspects of people's life and bring a learning for your listeners. So I really love the whole format of your show,
Thank you. I'm
and I'm
so
sure it's
happy that
gonna
you actually spent time listening to the episodes, and that's so beautiful. Thank you so
indeed.
much.
And I think it charged me up really well because I wanted to take home something from this episode for myself. So I think listening to those, I became really selfish and interested in the episode. So my
Going
huge
great. Perfect. So please tell us about where this exact journey started.
Definitely, Aditi. I have always tried to make the most of every opportunity that I've got. Uh, and having said so, I would say most of them have turned out to be good decisions because I've accumulated different knowledge and different understanding from various industries. And when I go to a new industry, a new role, I carry a lot of diverse experience.
Right.
And I'm sure you will agree, when you go to something new, there's a huge learning curve we all go through. And
And
that
thereby
learning
also an unlearning phase where you have to really
Yes,
drop
yes,
things.
yes. So you have preconceived notions, you have things, this is how it works. And it's a little how should I say, it's a little unnerving. You say,
Sure.
okay, is this something I'll be able to do or not? But yes, it's been really enjoyable. I think I have people who are from various industries who tell me how things work in those industries. And I say, okay, if this is something which can work in a consumer durable, then how will it work maybe in an industrial product?
So tell us about your idea campaign. We want to know about it.
So I would say that was the most exciting time for an engineer in me to convert into a brand person, which I became as a professional.
Okay.
Uh, so the whole thought behind idea campaigns, and that's where I started my career, was that how does a small idea change lives of millions of people? That was at
Right.
the core of the brand idea, and
Okay.
I think it did change significantly my life as well.
Okay.
And I'm sure, so the learning that I got from there was that a brand has a role to play in everybody's life. And
Okay.
how do you keep on consistently telling them that this is the role the brand idea has. So we will
Right.
always give you that small idea which is related to telephony.
Right.
How which we see now has come true. So today there was a time when our brand ambassador talked about the fact that you can have one cell phone giving classes to thousands of students, and we
And
see
today we
our
are
kids
doing it.
doing that. And with my colleagues who or my past colleagues from idea, we talk about that today, that how something that we had, an idea whose time was yet to come, maybe has
Yeah.
come now.
What an
So
idea, Sarji.
definitely, what an idea, Sergi, and how it shaped all of us as professionals, and I would say decent ones.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. So I had asked you to write your handwriting sample on a blank sheet of paper, which is unruled paper, and I have your sample in front of me. A few things to talk about before we dive deep into the conversation. And please keep your writing in front of you.
Indeed,
And
yes.
even for our listeners and viewers, if you have a sample where you have scribbled something, bring that on so that when I describe some traits in Neha's writing, you can find it for yourself if that is applicable or not. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at your writing, your lowercase letter F.
Yeah,
You write them like a letter, like number 8. The top part of that letter is squeezed, so you can't see any formation, but the bottom part is smooth. It's like that loop that is well formed. Now, if you have your lowercase letter f like eight formation, anybody, then you are not necessarily into planning and execution. You jump into things and figure things out.
indeed.
Okay, you literally walk into a situation without having a plan on hand. You believe, okay, something will work out. Let me look at what is fitting here. Is this the solution? Is that the solution? And by the logic, by the experimenting attitude, you figure things and you're willing to try them out, fail, and get it wrong. But most of the time, because you walk in with that much of willingness, the very moment you see things going wrong, you work on them, you change them, you alter them, and that's how you figure things out.
That's brilliant, Aditi. And I would say, I think uh, that I think is my strength personally. As a professional, it has worked for me. And I think going back to idea as the term, I'm a big fan of ideas, and I'm a big fan of any opportunity. So I think if there is an idea, then let's not put it in the back burner. Let's travel the distance, like you said, and we will definitely learn something out of it. Even if it's not successful in the first go, it will have an endpoint. It will reach somewhere,
Right.
and we will all have learned something out of it. I think back in my starting of my career, my CMO used to say that every mistake is also a learning, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
as marketers, I think we all are evolving constantly. There used to be the
True.
times when we were doing all those large scale print ads and TVCs, and now we see that we are shooting films
Yeah.
on webcams and on Zoom
Mobiles.
and
True.
mobiles, and there is a huge audience to watch that, because
Yeah.
till the time you have the great idea of a great content, people will watch it,
True.
be it shot on a 70 or be it shot on a Zoom with
Of course.
your just a hand phone.
So
So
basically, you're saying that when you jump into a situation without having a plan, what is your formula? What do you do exactly?
So for every idea, I try and bring the resources which are required on the table. I like that I'm on top of things, especially when these are new ideas and we are all clear where we are going. I
Right.
don't like the ambiguity, at least in the action plan, because you don't know where you're going eventually,
True.
but at least be clear on what you're doing. So I like to define those, at least what are our short-term actions and wins, and hence where we are going, so that you
So,
can keep on course correcting as well.
okay. Another thing that stands out in your writing is when you write your letter Y, you
Hmm,
make sure that you complete the loop. You do not
that's
leave
right.
the loops hanging. Now, that's an important idea because every time you set out to do something, and whether people agree with you or not, whether they are interested in the final outcome or not, because it's a game for you, it's a it's like that one more experiment for you. You will make sure that you complete it, you finish it. You're like, okay, probably it is not necessarily the thing everybody would clap for, but I need to know where this journey takes me, or where this idea goes, or where this experiment, where how it evolves. So it's so important for you. And people who complete their while loops like that pursue those things to the end. So over to you.
Indeed. Okay, first of all, Y is my, I think, a favorite letter. And I was just going through my handwriting and I saw,
You have a favorite letter? That's
yes,
so
yes.
cute.
I have favorite numbers, favorite letters. There are, I think those are the back of the mind comfort that we have. Okay, this is something I relate to. And indeed, I think I did see and I noticed that, yes, I do finish that Y. You're right, Aditi. I think it may it's an attribute of both personal and professional, because sometimes the higher you grow, it is important to believe in what you're doing, and that is where you can carry your team along with it.
Right.
So if I start a journey with them and I tell them, okay, somebody's told me that it will not work and I'm dropping it, I think somewhere for them also it's a little disillusioned, where they'll say, okay, and I'll lose trust amongst them as well, because
Hmm.
as a responsible leader, it's my job to also take them to the journey where we all started, and we said, okay, this is where we are looking at. That's
Right.
where let's go. In and it's a combination of personal as well, and like you said, that since I like being a problem solver, it relates to the fact that I want to see, did this idea work or not.
Right.
Do I want to be in the same situation tomorrow and say, okay, I didn't test it when I had an opportunity last
Hmm.
time. So do I do it again or not?
I speak about this concept in a high performance coaching sessions that so many times people who have the internal researcher who's
Hmm.
constantly working on their experiments or their ideas or they're evolving in that skill, they are happier no matter where you put them.
I
But if
agree.
if that internal researcher is not there, or if you're only working on the outcomes which other people can agree with or clap for, you may really achieve a lot, but you won't be happy because you're not engaged. So we are always engaged, through that researcher's cap where you keep improving, enhancing. You look at any sports person, anybody who is a great leader, this whole idea of constantly evolving because I want to see what will I do here. That
That's
I
right.
feel is fantastic.
No, it's very interesting that you've pointed this out, Aditi. So, there are various hormones which impact our well-being.
Right.
And I think happiness is obviously one of the important one. And you can have various attributes which bring down to happiness, but a little small wins, the hormone which gets secreted with that,
Mm.
it gives you a huge stimulus, and
Right.
and that is what we all go for. We say, okay, I wanted to try and grow a little bit more, and do this little more increment. Did I do
Right.
that? Was I successful in that? And that kind of gives you a little high and say, okay, let's go for another one.
That's very beautifully put because so the goal achievement or this whole like having audacious ideas does not happen one fine day. It happens in every moment. So what you're saying is if I know the goal that I'm achieving or I'm setting out for is in my ability of achievement, it's something that I can tangibly experience it right now
Yes,
and
yes,
go for it and play the
yes.
game. It's almost like instant gratification in the moment about the whole idea. You
Completely agree.
totally gamify your problems, I can tell that.
So I had a couple of questions, and this actually led me from the various podcasts that I heard of you, and I saw how you engage with your guests and the ideas you gave them. First one, which I had largely was that, so at times I tend to be a little more assertive. I would insist on things to be done, and somebody can perceive a professional to be maybe a little aggressive in that, because we're saying, okay, let's go for it, let's do it. Somebody doesn't want to do it. Is there a behavior pattern that you see, or an attitude that you see in my handwriting which can help me complement that?
Okay. So let me first begin with the question of aggression. Are
Okay,
you an aggressive person? The answer to that is no, you're not.
thank you.
Are you an assertive person? The answer to that is yes, you are. Now, what is the difference between the two?
Yeah.
When you hold on to an idea and you're very firm about it because you believe in it, you see that is required, that is firm behavior.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And when you become obsessed with that idea and you want to support it because it is your idea, not
Hmm.
because it is required to be done, is
Hmm.
where you become aggressive. You start using
Hmm.
force, pushing people around.
Hmm.
Your assertive behavior can be looked at as uncomfortable behavior because you do make people in your team feel uncomfortable with their comfort zones.
That's
You
right.
will push them in a way that they don't like. And you do that, I believe, also because your bosses, your coaches, your mentors did that to you. And if
Right.
they wouldn't have done it, you wouldn't have been here. So because you believe in that idea so much and you're sold on it, you know, it's like something that you vouch by, and you have seen the personal transformation, you also hold that higher standard for your team to go to. Now here
Indeed.
is a problem.
Indeed. I just want to tell you this is really insightful, Aditi. And this is a perspective I didn't think of. And when you said, my coaches and mentors and my earlier bosses, yes, I think that's something that they brought on the table,
Right
and they would have pushed me at that time. And that's something I would have learned. Please.
now, here is a point. They did not push you, and that was the key. They enticed you. They
Hmm.
actually got you so excited that you felt as if it's your baby to take care
Hmm.
of. Most of the time, you'll end up missing on that part or not spend enough time on this portion of your leadership, and you expect people to join the bandwagon, and when they don't, you become little pushy.
Right.
You start telling them, but this must be done.
Right.
This is what is required. Why would you miss an opportunity? And for you it's obvious, but like any other story that we watch, any movie that we watch, for us to care for the leader's journey or leader's conflict, we have to feel invested in it.
Right.
And that part is where you have to bring in a lot more storytelling, maybe a lot more
Hmm.
connection, maybe a lot more empathy, which I feel are your, I would not say concern areas, but areas where you haven't worked on as much,
Right.
especially empathy, because of the speed and excitement that you are driven by. You want to jump on ideas and you want to get to the next level right now or
Right.
yesterday, maybe. You're like, but why are we wasting time here? You're not impatient. Let me clarify
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Impatience in the writing is about the horizontal line on the letter T flying off on the right side. I do not find any of that in your writing. So you're not an impatient person, but the enthusiasm with which you work, you miss involving people in the narrative that you're building.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
way you do it to your client, maybe the way
Hmm.
you would do it to people who you report to, or
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
selling the whole idea to, you would do that. But the same internal selling is required with the team, and I know it can be really tiring at times, but leaders who manage to do that, who build that narrative for the internal team, generally land up having more freedom in the future.
That's fantastic, Aditi. I think that's how my coaches always said, uh, that there is an end goal and then there's a journey.
Right.
And higher you go, I think it's important to carry people along with that in your journey and not just reaching that goal.
True.
Thank you so much for
Most well. Most well.
re-emphasizing that and highlighting it again. So, maybe at times I end up taking a lot of, I would say, okay, let me take the responsibility, let me
Right.
jump into a problem again, let me be the problem solver. So the problem has to be solved. How do I nurture more people and and take the level of a coach and say, okay, how do you do that problem solving, and I'll get guide you into that.
That is extremely difficult keeping your instinctive excitement in mind. Okay, so when you look at a problem right now and for last few years, the priority is to get the best possible solution.
Right.
Okay, or find whatever method required for us to crack the code. Right, this is where you're at right now, and that excites you. That's your ikigai, to wake up, every
Agreed.
morning, look forward to work. To switch gears, you have to find next problem that you're solving, and this is
Hmm.
also for our listeners. If you are delegating, is not about giving the responsibility of work on to someone else and then feeling uncomfortable about it. That's not how delegation works. What you really have to figure out, and especially for a problem solver like you have to define a new problem in delegation area.
Hmm.
Okay, which means if you're solving an external problem, how you look at all the shortcomings, how you look at what are the alternate ways in which I can solve this problem, what are the other experts who have figured this out, and how I can pick one solution from their experiment and implement and test it.
Hmm.
You love testing,
Hmm.
right? Similarly, you haven't made delegation your experiment yet. The
Hmm.
very moment you'll do that, you will start seeing how I can implement multiple solutions and how I can really tweak the problems for people to move ahead.
Hmm.
When you'll observe their reactions closely, you'll see what words that you use work better with one person over the other. You'll see in their body language whether they're reluctant, they're willing, they're actually interested, or they're not interested. All these observations can become a game, and ask me about it. Once you start paying attention to all these things, you don't require fictions to read because you literally have storybooks walking around all the time. So those are
Hmm.
aspects I think
Hmm.
you can open up if
Hmm.
you make
Hmm.
that as your game.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right now, it is a necessity, and you hate necessities. So,
That's very beautifully put, Aditi. Yes, I think in the hindsight, when I think of it and I take this as a challenge, like you rightly said, I'm able to implement that. When I say, okay, the task here is that how do I make my team take up certain more things, or how do I have other people more engaged? If that is the task for me, maybe I'm able to do it much better, and eventually that will become a larger habit as well. But I think we all eventually are on a journey, and conversations like these brings out those spots which you've carried for a long period of time, and then once you are conscious to that, we all can work on it beautifully.
absolutely. And the whole idea of making our conversations, especially on the podcast, so raw and so open and so specific is
Hmm.
this, so that
Yes,
all of us start looking at those pitfalls and work on it. And all
that's
of us
right.
have them. The whole idea is to celebrate the broken part.
That's right.
You share your story, which is not perfect. And in
Hmm.
spite of the story, you are as successful as you are. You're not here without any problems. You're
Hmm.
here in spite of all these challenges, and every morning you wake up, you show up, you do the job in spite of it. And I feel that is fascinating, and all of us must imbibe these traits.
I completely agree.
So Neha, when I look at your signature, you write your N and you encircle that with G,
Yes.
right? That particular trait of encircling your own first letter in the signature is a significant aspect of how you have created a mechanism to not always be fully open. It's kind of a protective layer, and it comes from deep childhood. It comes from areas where things you tried and tested were not necessarily appreciated by people around you.
Hmm.
And then you built this mechanism that I want to preserve myself no matter what, and I'm going to move forward,
Hmm.
but at the same time I'm not going to lose myself in the journey. So there is always like this kind of layer that you walk with.
Hmm.
And that definitely is where you take time to trust people, you take time to be friends with people. They have to go through multiple ways of your personal testing and trials, and smaller tests that you set out. Once people clear through all of them is where you allow them in your world, inside your personal conversation. And I believe that is an interesting observation.
Indeed, indeed, it's a very interesting observation, Aditi. And since you talked about childhood, I'll say yes and no. It's a mixed of. So I had my my mother was a working mother, and I think a lot of it with regards to how do I manage my personal and professional life, I learned from her.
Mhm.
And both my parents have treated me and my brother as equals, and
Mhm.
I think that's where they've given us the wings to go out and do the best we can. So yes, it could have been a combination of things that they would have told us and taught us, and then it ingrained in us saying, okay, this is the core me, and how much do I let somebody come inside my personal circle. So I think one of the things is that I'm extremely social, but you rightly said that it takes me to be time to have you in my closer circle. So i
Right.
would i would i would be happy to engage with whoever comes and talks to me. But do I become pals with them? Do I start going for parties with them? Unlikely. That's a smaller circle I like to maintain.
Neha, as I see your career graph and how you have one either accepted challenges or went ahead and created them, figured out a way to go around the problem all the time. If I have to ask you if you have any two or three formula kind of things that you keep in mind when it comes to dealing with resistance, what would you say?
I think some of the things which I do is I do a lot of background work then. So
Mm,
if I take an idea to somebody and they have a resistance to it, then I try and understand what is their thinking on it.
mm,
And is it not aligning with the goal that they have? Because we all are working in an organization and we all have to go towards a common goal, and it makes no sense for me to do an idea because I'm marketing and I want to do something interesting.
Sure, of
So it
course.
has to align with the organization's goal, and then I do a lot of groundwork to say how does it align,
Mm,
where do we want to go, and how does that idea fit in.
mm,
So sometimes I introduce these ideas to people who are surrounding us in a meeting, for
mm.
example, so that I know that the resistance may be from a decision maker, but we can collectively carry the decision maker towards a solution or towards an idea. So these are the two things that I definitely try to do. One is prepping and understanding, because
Mm,
I also don't want to be on a journey, at least at this point of time, where I'm not aligned with where we have to go, and then
right.
do a prep work, and then have people who can talk about the same idea along with me. So have their buy-in, so that there's a little bit of halo effect on that idea or a choice.
So if I have to ask you, which was your professionally, the most memorable experience or something where you felt, oh my God, this I didn't expect to happen.
So in my previous job, we were doing a campaign which was focused on an industry which talked to plumbers, and
Okay.
nobody talks to plumbers except for talking in centers with them. And we
Mm,
said, okay, we'll go out in a TV commercial and we will
mhm.
launch that, and we will still talk to plumbers and we will say how we are a brand for plumbers, but we what's the role of a plumber has in general people's mind.
Okay.
And I think that small insight turned into a campaign which I think was one of the best campaigns that year. Whoever
Can
has seen
you
that campaign.
can you be elaborate? We can take
Okay,
names of the brands. We're okay with that.
sure. So this is for the brand called Birla HIL Limited, and so the whole idea was that when a plumber comes to you, he said everything is okay, and if anything goes wrong, you know naam badal dena. I'll change my name. So
Right.
he puts his name
At
at
stake.
stake,
Right.
exactly. And it's just a pipe in your house, but imagine if a plumbing system goes wrong, everything
Of
goes
course.
topsy
Of
turvy.
course.
So it's not something which is a big decision like buying a car or a dress. So you do not have that top of mind, but it's a decision big enough to spoil your day and weeks eventually.
True.
So
True.
that's what we showcased, and we had the protagonist who went house to house, and every time he used to keep on changing his name. So one day
Oh.
his mom will call you by another name, and then every day he'll have a new name, new nameplates, everything.
Oh, I
And
saw that. So the very small part of this ad. Oh, I remember it now.
yes,
Okay.
so and I think the way this ad blew up. See, as the product category was so small, nobody used to talk about pipes before that.
Right.
We chose not to have a celebrity on it,
Mhm.
and then the small idea, which was obviously fantastically executed by the direction team, my agency
Right.
on board, which was Ogilvy at that time, and then the number of awards and number of people talking about that. People, it reminded them of Fevicol, and I think
Oh,
as a
wow.
brand, it's
Yeah.
a
That's
big
a
feat.
compliment.
It's
That's
a
a
it's a huge
compliment.
compliment, and I think all the awards one side, start having a body of work being compared to Fevicol, and we all have our childhood memories and
Sure, of
today's
course.
memories of Fevicol. So I think that was an idea, and it didn't have a great reception from internal audience in the beginning,
Right.
and then it grew on everybody, and it's like,
And you still believed in it when people did.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's
See,
amazing.
because one thing in marketing is, Aditi, you have to identify who's your audience.
Hmm.
So everybody will have a point of view in marketing, but
Right.
what matters is the people who are your audience, who the communication is made for. What is the point of view they have? What did you think of when you made that execution?
Hmm.
Because maybe you want them to have a cringy behavior or a reaction, but if this is what you planned for and that you achieved, is the success.
Wow. That makes
So
sense. Okay.
yes, so a lot of times we feel, okay, this guy didn't like it, but the filter is, was this guy my intended audience, and
Right.
what was the reaction which was intended out of it?
And if your intended audience clicks or if they feel it is exciting,
That's
then
the
you
aha moment, and that's where all the excitement comes from.
that's amazing. So Neha, in our conversation, you mentioned about your exciting experience with Geo. Tell us more about that.
So I think like all experiences, Geo has been really a great experience for two reasons. One is to be part of a launch which is the fastest growing company in the world.
Mm.
Acquiring 100 million subscribers and growing at the pace they've grown is a gives you an insight on how things are possible. I think when you're
Mm.
part of a success story like that, you say everything is possible. And second is how all hands on deck, how a focused approach
Mm.
works even when you have to do something as large as this.
Mm.
So I think the clarity amongst the entire team, starting from the owner of the organization to the last person, was clear that this is where we want to go, and these are the things that we want to achieve. And how smaller pegs and everything put together forms such a large organization.
What do you mean by that, if you can explain?
See, the reach of Geo was almost everywhere when the launch happened.
Mm.
So you have people doing exactly the same thing that somebody is doing in Pune to Thiruvananthapuram to Bikaner, to
Right.
every smaller place, and your lowest common denominator thinks the same way as what somebody is thinking sitting in the Geo Center.
Mm.
So, and how do you bring such a large force together and standardize everything? So, for a brand, that's the most important part. How do I look the same, to
Everywhere.
somebody who's sitting in a Mumbai on a Marine Drive, to somebody in India Gate, to somebody in Gachibowli in Hyderabad, to somebody again in Bikaner, and all parts where my brand is present, am I coming across the same? Am I giving the same experience? I think that's the focus that I learned in Geo, and again, obviously, the belief in anything is possible. When I was changing, or I was joining HIL Limited, and this it was one of my big career move, and I was moving vertically in a
Okay.
significant position, and I had my interview with the head of the company, and and he changed the whole context of the interview by just starting the conversation by saying that we know you are the one and you're going to be leading the brand for us. And you know how you go into the interview to justify yourself, where he kind of changed the whole access to how I will take the responsibility of taking the brand ahead, how I will take the responsibility of joining them. So I got bought into that organization even before I was part of that organization.
So you
So
did not head anything. You did not know exactly what you're
what
walking
you can
into, but they were so convinced, and they told
exactly.
you that you are the one to take care of it.
Exactly. And you know how then he took through the conversation, where because I had taken all my guards down, because when somebody says that we know you are the one for us, then
Right.
then there is no pretension, there is nothing. Then we were talking, brass talks. We were saying, okay, how do we make things work together?
Right. That is interesting in an interview. He could get you to do
Yes,
that.
yes.
That's
And
a
and I'm
great
and
example of delegating work by buying into
oh,
a story.
that's right. That's right. And I think that's where I took and I positioned that brand, which was a 70-year-old brand, and I gave them a positioning called Together We Build, because
Okay.
eventually I think this is where the leader of the organization, he started giving that to me, and I'm sure
That's what you
eventually everybody in
experienced
the
in the first
organization,
meeting.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's so
how
interesting.
things can be done, and togetherness is something that the company really stands for.
Is there any brand line or brand idea that you came up with which kind of blew your mind with the results that eventually showed up?
Together we build. So I think so we were working on working on launching the brand for the in an ATL or in a large scale, in partnership with the Chennai Super Kings. And uh, and it was a very different problem that we had. So we had multiple brands which
Hmm.
belonged to the mother brand HIL Limited, and how
And
we
what are
had
those brands for our
so
listeners
so
to
so
connect with?
this was a Charminar brand, which is a 70-year-old brand, and people used to say, Dada Kharide Pota Barte kind of a brand.
Yeah.
And then you had Birla HIL, which was not even an year-old brand, and you had Birla Aerocon. We had a brand called Parador we had acquired in Germany, which
Hmm.
was again a 40-year-old brand, and everything had to be brought in under the umbrella of HIL Limited, which was a sub brand of CK Birla Group. So
Right.
you can imagine there were 7, 8 big brands, and I had to make my mother brand stand in terms of employees, because I want them to relate to the core brand. I wanted the stakeholders, which is channel partners, stocks, everybody relate to HIL Limited. We had so many raw materials to work with, and there were various ideas, and we said, okay, one of the idea which had to take the leap of a positioning was that as a brand we build things together. So
Hmm.
as employees we build the organization, uh, our products along with our consumers help them build whatever construction they want to do.
Hmm.
As channel partners they help us build the organization, and as a company we build the nation eventually.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
this and we were a building material company, so I
Right.
think the whole thought of build and how build as a verb and a noun came together, and we said togetherness is what we stand for, because all of it together is what we are, and we landed on together we build. Another thing, I think that's the work which I'm most proud of. And wherever I went and people were like, okay, we want something like together we build. And
Nice.
you know, that's where you feel when somebody wants a part of what you've made. It 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 creates maybe those mother instinct when I
Of
feel my daughter
course.
growing, and I say, okay, no, this is something that I'm really proud of.
And
Yes.
also something that you feel your body of work becomes larger than you, and then you look at it and say, "Oh my God, this is
And
amazing."
it goes back to your thought of that when we do things and they become successful, you know, it gives you an excitement of doing something new. You say,
Right.
okay, this works, and let's try something new which will work. So yes, indeed, that's my most exciting part of the work.
So, Neha, before we conclude our conversation, I want to say something which I feel would resonate with you and our listeners at the same time. So many times, when you are an overachiever in a team and your ideas or your talent does not fit the requirement of the team, I find people sitting there and questioning whether the job is good enough for me. Am I
Hmm.
good enough for this job? Is it a right match or a marriage? And what do I do? How do I break it? And that becomes quite frustrating
Hmm.
most of the time.
Hmm.
So I think a clue or a little small little hack for you to look at is to find your channels of expression,
Hmm.
creativity other than the work, which I believe you haven't paid attention to.
Right.
You wish to, you keep thinking about it, but you do not act on it with as much vigor as you do for your professional work. So
That's
it's
right.
your so-called reminder from wherever, but make sure that in next 3 months or 6 months, you take that up and start working or building a personal project. Because if
That's
you
right.
don't do that right now, I see there are moments where you do get irritated with lack of challenge.
Hmm.
You get irritated, and it also could be due to the lockdown and everything, but you do feel that I am not at my best, I'm not necessarily stretching my intellect as much as I would like to, and this is where we have to work. These are those frustrating moments that we look at, situations, and we say, but there is nothing wrong with my life, everything is available, I have a beautiful family, I have a great job, and we just start justifying how our frustrations are not valid.
I agree.
However,
No, no, no.
and
Hmm.
these are the moments that
No,
you
no,
should
you're
look at.
very right. You're very right on that, Aditi. I think that is something that I also consciously think. But you know what happens is that sometimes people who are so married to their work,
Right?
then they start finding things on how do I make the work more exciting. So
True.
usually that's where I feel my meditation is, when I get those ideas and say, okay, you know, things are going status quo, they are not going the way I want them to. How do I how do I get an idea? How do I do something which I kind of channelize things better? So I think it's important that we have projects which are outside of our work, because it gives us time to take off our mind from work, and it gives bigger ideas, it gives
Completely.
solutions.
Completely. And I want to talk about the Kama Sutra stroke practice that
Yeah,
we constantly, keep talking, and everywhere I get a chance,
I'm
I
a big
talk
fan
about
of
it.
that. Yes.
Thank you. So that stroke is called flow of thoughts, and it's a
Hmm.
creativity booster. So most of the time when you feel blocked, when you feel that your mind is not channelized in the manner that you would like to, please take 10 minutes and do that stroke. However, that's not the hobby or like another creative project I was talking about. I do see that your abilities to express yourself are not fully utilized.
Hmm.
To answer the question that you asked, what else can I do to bring on my A game? I
Hmm.
feel if you have something else other than your work where you are implementing and executing your ideas, where you
Hmm.
feel that you are completely engaged, you'll be able to do more justice to your work and cope up with those creative frustrations that you experience every now and then.
I completely agree. Let me give you an inside story. I'm a big foodie and I
Uh-huh.
love cooking. So
Uh-huh.
eventually, so that creativity for me is from cooking. And like everybody would believe, like a simple project. So you decide what to make, what are the resources, and what's the output, and that's your
Right.
aha moment.
Right.
That's
Perfect.
where you get that fulfillment. And yes, indeed, one should do like slightly bigger projects outside of work. But whenever I'm trying to take that break and say, okay, how do I meditate? I get into my kitchen and I see what all is
That's
there and
amazing.
what do I
That's
cook out of
amazing.
it.
I started cooking just in 2019 for the first time in my life. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I miss this for so many years? It is meditative. It is obviously delicious. And other people are also benefited by your hobby. But
Exactly. So it gives you that output which is self-consuming, as well as it gives you the vibes that everybody is appreciating it. So it's a
true.
sensory experience in all ways.
Totally. Foodgasmic. And
I
how?
agree.
Thank you, Neha, for being part of this conversation. There were so many small learnings that I have had thinking about a brand, looking at how you understand other people when you how you make them the hero of the story that you're narrating. It was very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi, for having me on this show. It was like standing in front of the mirror and saying, okay, is my hairstyle fine? Why is it not fine? What
Right.
is it that I can do to make my overall persona? So while mirror just shows you how you look, I think you've very wonderfully added suggestions and guided me into things which may be a blind spot and how I can work on them.
My pleasure. Completely my pleasure. I cannot tell you that when our listeners listen to stories like yours, they start understanding their journeys and they start relating to how they are stuck and how can they solve problems. So I think today our listeners going to have some takeaways that they can implement right away.
That's
Thank you
very
so much.
generous of you. And I'm sure I will look forward to many more stories coming from your end and
Definitely.
keep on learning from there. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Absolutely Right podcast. If you want to know how to use graphology to know people around you, like your kids, your spouse, people that you otherwise wonder how they think, like your colleagues or your bosses, then this particular skill can come really handy. You can join a graphology masterclass. You can know more details about the course on aditisurana.com. If these conversations are stimulating you to be the best version of yourself and be the leader that you always knew was possible, you require to train your mind, your emotion to deal with stress, to work under pressure, and actually hack your system to go to the next level. We are creating all of this in APT, which is our group coaching program. You can know more about it on the link aditisurana.com/APT. A for Aspire, P for Perform, and T for Transform. I'll see you on Friday with one more episode of the Absolutely Right podcast. Till then, happy writing.